Hi all. So now again I'm going to discuss the topics like um, the joins and cross database joins and data blending. So as discussed in the previous sessions, I'm recording this session again, and the reason being the video got corrupted and I was not able to process the video. So anyway, but I have created a nice presentations in order to make you easily understand what is the cross database join and data blending and the difference between these two. So let us begin by cross database join first. See, the cross database join, as per definition, it says it allow to join data from two different types of databases as if they were coming from the same database. Okay, so like if you remember in Tableau environment, in a worksheet label, we were able to see all the fields from the two different data source like they were coming from the same data source because we were only able to see one data source. Anyway, that I will show this later, but first let us understand what is the you know structure of the joins. So basically, when you join two table, let's say table A and table B, so your result would be fields from table A and the field from table B. So both fields side by side it will combine and it will form a you know final data set, or you can call it as a result data set. So your result data set will contain fields from table A and fields from table B. Now how this field will comes into the result data set, that will discuss in various types of joins. So there are you know four types of join that Tableau supports: left join, right join, inner join, and full outer join. So I'll just since we have discussed this topic already in an Excel sheet, but then I will do a recap quickly. So what is left join? So basically, as you can see in the Venn diagram itself, you can see the table A is in blue color. That means all the records from table A will come into my result data set. However, records from table B which are overlapping with table A. That means, what does it mean by overlapping? That means the records from table B which are common with table A, right? So whatever records from table B which are common with table A, those many records from table B will sit into my result data set. So once again, all the data from table A, only the matching records from table B which are intersecting with table A, that will be part of my left join result data set. In this in the same line, this is let's discuss right join. Right join is just the vice versa of left join. Here you can see the table B is dark blue color. That means each of the records from table B will be part of my result data set, but only the records from table A which are common with table B. Common means which are matching with table B, that will sit into result right join table. Okay, resultant right join table. Similarly, inner join means the data, the records from table A which are matching with records from table B, or the records from table B which are matching from the records with table A, in the way the records which are common in both the table A and table B. Okay, these are the records which are common in both the table. As you can see, this is called intersections. Okay, intersection means this area intersecting in both the you know both this circle. So the circle represent table. So when this intersects in both the circle, that means these many records will be common in table A as well as in table B. Okay, so this is my inner join. Okay, so whichever records which are not common from table A to table B or table B to table A, that will discard it. That will not be part of my final data set. My final data set will be common data coming from both the table. And the full outer join, very simple. Take all the records from table A, and take all the records from table B, and that will be your full outer join. Okay, so that's how it works. Now let us see how joins actually works. Okay, so let us see the behind the scene. So here I have my table, left table A, and here I have my right table B. Why I'm calling it as a left table or right table? It's very simple logic. It is sitting on my left hand side, so I'm calling it as left table. And this table is sitting on my right hand side, so I'm calling it as right table. And that is what we use into SQL logic also, join logic also. So now my left table A, table name is A, which has state, city, cells, and these are the data. So the granularity label is at city. So what is mean by granularity? Granularity means my measures, my measures value, at what level the measures values are given in the data. So the cells value given at city level, not at a state level. So for each city, I have distinguished cells value. Since all the cities belong to same states, that's why the state's name is being repeated. And yeah, so for each of the cities, you can see like that there are three states: Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, and all these cities belong to these three states. So my cells values is given at the city label. So I would say the level of granularity is at city level. Okay. Now look at the table B, which is my right table. So here I don't have city information. I just have aggregate quantity sold out in Alabama and aggregate quantity sold out in Arizona. Now, what I want to bring state city cells with the quantity information. So that means I want to bring all these four fields together in the resultant data sets, and for that I'm going to do a join. So how I'll do the join? Since I can see, hey, state, I have a state here and I have a state here. So can I look at Alabama and go and check in table B and see what is the quantity? I can see easily Alabama is present here, so I can see quantity is 10. Now quantity 10 will come for each of the Alabama because I'm looking at Alabama itself. Okay, I'm not looking at the city. So when I'm looking at from state table A state to table B state, then from table B, I'll be getting quantity and bringing for each of the state name. Okay, now here the city will get ignored completely because we are only matching from state to a state. But so let us see how actually it works. So how left join works. Okay, so when I do left join, that means like if you remember, recall the rules of left join. What is the rules of left join? It says all records from left table will be part of my resultant data set. So I took all the data, all the records from left table, and as it is, whatever we had, we took all the data. Now we will taking only the matching records from right table. So wherever there was Alabama, Arizona, I am taking quantity corresponding to each of the states. Since this state being repeated three times in my left table, so three time quantity I am fetching from my right table. Okay. Similarly, Arizona being repeated four times because four city it has. So all four time I'll be fetching quantities from my right table which has quantity informations. Now you'd be don't get confused. Hey, why you are repeating? Because I'm completely ignoring the city. I don't have city in my right table. I had just state. So since in joins, it it execute row to row label. So for each single row, it goes and fetch out records. Okay. So wherever how long it will you know where how long it will find the state name being repeated in the table, that many time it will go and fetch out the quantity information from table B. Okay, and now look at the result. So my when the it's fetching out left table data and fetching out only the matching records from right table, and now resultant will be my this data set. So this is my left join result. So you see it got city, state, city cells along with the quantity. Okay, this is my left join results data set. Now understand about okay, so I'm not going to discuss about right join, inner join. So everything, this is the basic logic. Everything just works like that. We have already discussed. If you want some more clarity, maybe we can again connect in the classroom and I can explain this to you. But let us understand data blending. This was the more confusing. I understood like you guys have understood about the joins, but then blending was the confusing. Well, I'm going to talk about this whole theory later. First, let us understand how data blending works. And let me talk about what is data blending. Well, data blending is similar to joins. Okay, the whole idea of data blending is just to join itself. However, here I'm not going to follow the four rules of join called left join, right join, inner join, and full outer join. Okay, these all four rules are not going to be used in data blending. So how data blending works? Data blending basically, it join data coming from two different data source. So here I have data source A and you can see the table, table for data source A at data source A and table sitting at data source B. So now I'm going to blend these two data source together. And how I'm going to blend? So let us understand behind the scene. At data source, first at data source label A. Okay. Again, here I said in data blending, aggregations first execute at source label before it goes and join two data set. So this is my data source A. Let us understand behind the scene at data source label A. Okay, so behind the scene at data source label A, in data blending, Tableau aggregates data at source label itself. That means at label A itself, I'm going to do some aggregations. So this is my data source A, and at source A, this is my table. Now I'll do some aggregations. Aggregation means basically summarizing. The way you summarize data using pivot in your Excel environment. So in Excel, you create a pivot to summarize your data, basically sum, minimum, maximum, whatever you want to do. Basically I'm doing a summations of each of the state, so that is I'm calling as aggregation. So that happen at the source level itself. So after doing aggregations at source levels, so this is my result after aggregation at source level. Okay, so that Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, I'll be getting sum of cells. It will aggregate means it will just sum up for all three Alabama cells, all four Arizona cells together, and Arkansas, all four Arkansas, or one, two, three, four, all four Arkansas cells together, and that value I'll be getting as a resultant data set. Okay, this is called aggregation, and this happened at the source level itself behind the scene that you are not seeing it, how it works. So this goes behind the scene. Okay, but this is how it happens at source level A. Now look at the behind the scene at data source label B. What happens since this is just a very small data set, there is nothing much to aggregate, even because this just single records for each of the states. But then Tableau aggregates data at source level before blending with other data source, and result will be as it is. Result after aggregation at source label B. This is what I'll be getting. Now, now I'm going to join the result after aggregation at source level A and result after aggregation at source level B. So these two data sets I'm going to join, and that is what happened into data blending. So blending after aggregation at source level. So see, so aggregated data at source A, and now it's going to join with aggregated data at source B. So now this will get joined. Okay, unlike your cross database join where aggregation, it doesn't do any aggregation, it first join row to row, and after doing joining row to row it does aggregation into Tableau view level. But in data blending that is not happening. It is first aggregating the data at very source label, and after it got aggregation at source label, like aggregated data at source label A and aggregated data at source label B. Now it does the joining. Okay, now when it does the joining, I'll be getting for each of the state, I'll be getting the correct right correct quantity for each of the state. Now you say, hey, now you got just state. What about city? Now you can have city also, and when you expand, you can drill down to cities. Still, your quantity will though repeated, but when you contract and come back to higher level, it won't sum those quantities. It will be showing just 10,000 because aggregation has already happened at data source. Now at the Tableau view label, it won't do the aggregation again. That means it will not repeat the aggregation again, because in data blending mechanism at view label, that means in the Tableau sheet environment, it doesn't do any aggregations. Okay, and that is the reason we are getting the right quantity. So remember, what is the difference between cross database join and data blending? Once again, in cross database join, aggregations happens at very source level, but sorry, I think I said wrong thing. So what is the difference between cross database join and data blending? In cross database join, first is joins records to records from both the tables, okay, and we do aggregation in Tableau environment. However, in data blending, the aggregations happens at very source level itself, not into Tableau. At the source itself, it does the aggregations, and on top of aggregations, like here you can see on top of this aggregation, it does the join. Okay, so that is the difference. Once again, cross database join, it doesn't do any aggregation at source level, but in data blending it does aggregation at source level. So that is the main basic major difference in both this way of joining. Okay, and this is the most frequent questions asked by interviewers during interview, and many people who do not understand the concept very well, they could not, many times they could not answer it, but then I hope now you have understood. Still, if you have doubt, um, you know you can talk to me personally, and I will I will again try to explain you. But now this is not in Tableau 2020 version. Now this is not going to be very mandatory things to use it, because now we got that AI engine in the background, and which will does the aggregations looking at the level of granularity and both the table automatically for the users, and developer don't have to really go and figure out what exactly they have to do. However, in tab version 2020, we still have mechanism that we can go to the older fashion of doing the joins, etc. Those things are still at available at our own discretions. That means if you want to have it, maybe we can have it, but then it is not necessary to do joins and data blending by our own. Tableau will take care of those things in version 2020. But then uh, knowing about the concepts and understanding about the whole concept, because this was the one of the most important concept, particularly pertains to your data joining, etc. And that is an important thing. Obviously, unless you connect data, you can't do anything. So from that perspective, know about all these things is really good. Makes sense. So I hope you have understood. It would be clear in your mind, or else you can play these videos and see what I have talked about. Okay, so that's all for these videos, and I will see you guys in our Saturday regular classes. Till then, bye bye. Take care.